Welcome to Pace TV, the Pace of San Diego. I'm your host, Angel Alvarez. On today's show, we are talking about the Rotary Club of Escondido, what it is and how it came about, what it does and how it does it. Here to help us understand what we need to know about the Rotary Club is Colleen McKinnon, who is last year's president, and Jack Raymond, who was not only the president during Escondido's Rotary Club's 50th year, but is repeating the role along with three others this year. Welcome, Colleen and Jack. So for either one of you, and you can take turns answering however you want to do it, what is Rotary and what does it do and how does it do it?
You start.
Rotary is a service organization. It was established in 1905. Rotary in Escondido was established in 1924.
Wow.
So we have made a big impact in service and philanthropy throughout our city.
So what kind of things does the Rotary do? I mean, what are you involved in? What kind of things are your class acts, the things that you're most proud of?
Colleen.
So that question is on two different levels. There's like what we do as a club, and then there's what the larger organization does. Our club has lunch every week, Tuesday noon at the California Center for the Arts. We bring in a speaker from our community. Today, the district governor from San Diego is coming to talk to us about what's going on district-wide with all the Rotary clubs. I think there's 68 of them in San Diego.
Okay.
Our club, in addition to having lunch and program speakers, we have a scholarship program. We do community service, both funding and participating. We do international, which is mostly just philanthropy, partnering our money with other Rotary clubs for projects around the world. And then we have a vocational service committee, which will host Rotarians at their work, or they'll donate their time and energy to Rotary projects.
I think I was involved in one of those. You were making desks for something.
That was COVID.
That was during COVID.
That was during COVID.
For people at home that needed a desk, because I remember going and I did it. I think twice we did it.
That's
those
awesome.
Things. You had all the pieces cut out, and then we just put all the pieces. So that sort of thing.
Exactly.
Oh,
One of
okay.
our Rotarians designed those desks and got
wow.
all the pieces together, and that would be under community service is how we finance that through that committee. But we really needed to get out of the house and do something at that point in our lives, so it was a great project.
Now, what happened to those desks afterward? That's kind
They
of
went to
a silly question.
students.
Well, I know they went to
Yeah.
students, but then they just kept them?
Oh yeah, they kept them.
okay.
Yeah, no, those were gifts.
Okay. Well, that was cool. Okay. So Jackie said 1905 that
1905 Rotary was
Okay.
was established,
Okay.
and the motto of Rotary is service above self.
What is with the gears? Because I always think of Rotary as seeing gears. Is that right?
Well,
Is that
it's a
what I say?
wheel.
Oh, it's a wheel.
It's our
Okay.
Rotary wheel.
Okay.
And it just shows the associations, the affiliations, the camaraderie. We're all together.
Said Rotary came to Escondido in 1924, so that was only like 19 years after. What was Escondido like in 1924? It must not have been very much.
It was small, but the community leaders were those who joined and established Rotary. So in many ways, Rotary in those days ran this community.
Okay.
And it was interesting, Ernie, because when they first began, they had a national record for perfect attendance. And they went to great lengths to maintain that, including one year where one of their members was hospitalized, and they adjourned or recessed the regular Rotary Club meeting, reconvened in the hospital, held the ending of the Rotary meeting to keep their perfect attendance.
Meeting's adjourned.
Yes.
Everybody's here.
Everybody's there.
Oh my gosh. Okay. Okay. So now you guys meet at the California Center for Performing Arts. So
Yes.
you don't have Rotary doesn't have its own building like the Elks Club or Moose or
So
any of those groups.
so there's 5 of us in town, 5 Rotary clubs.
oh wow.
One of them, so we're the only one that meets at the California Center for the Arts. One of them meet at the Philanthropy Center on Canterbury. 2 of them meet at the Chamber of Commerce. And the last one, I think they meet at Casina del Charo.
Now, so there's 5 clubs in Escondido. Do you find yourselves running into each other?
All the time. Not in a bad way.
No, well, I mean, that's kind of what I meant.
No,
I mean,
no,
do
no.
you find yourselves at trying to do the same thing at the same time, or
No.
your projects are...
We do collaborate on projects, and
Okay.
we have there's 2 monthly meetings across all the clubs.
Oh, okay.
There's one where all the presidents get together, and then there's one, it's a long-standing meeting, we call it the Summit. And we meet at Q Cakes every 3rd Thursday at 9 a.m. And just fill each other in on what we've got going on, and share, if we have a project and we need some help, or it's how we keep each other informed and updated and involved. And
Very
they're all super different.
Okay.
So we're Tuesday at lunch, which is a very specific niche of time. And then there's also the Way Too Early Club. There's the Escondido Sunrise Rotary. There's an After 5 club. And then there's the Friday Lunch Club and Saturday Morning Breakfast.
So you can find a club that fits in your schedule, no matter how
Absolutely,
busy your
yeah.
schedule. What does it take to join Rotary? What do you have to do to become a member? Can you just say, I'd like to become a member, and we sign you up, or is there a process?
Yeah, so it is a process. Of course, if you want to come and you're like, hey, I like this, sign me up. We would be like, you should come a few times.
Okay.
Because it's definitely something you want to experience before you get involved in. There is a financial component to it. So you don't necessarily want to put your money down before you know what you're getting into.
Okay.
And most Rotarians are recruited through what we call sponsors. And somebody will be like, you are a Rotarian, you need to come to lunch. And then they'll come for a while and they decide to join. And we collect their information. They have to pass a background check.
I was going to ask about that.
Yeah, there is a background check to be in Rotary. It's not like super invasive, but because the standard of we have the motto service above self, but we also have this 4-way test, which is like our ethical guidelines. Ethics is a part of Rotary, which is super different in today's day and age. But being, as we bring people in and we don't know them that well, we actually do run a background check. Then their name gets put to the board of directors for a vote, and then it gets put to the general membership for a vote.
So, all right, so let's say I went today and said, Jack, Colleen, I want to join Rotary. How long would it take me to become a...
It would take about 2 weeks.
Oh, 2 weeks. Oh,
Yeah.
that's not bad.
Yeah, no, it's not that. I mean, technology moves fast. We can
Okay.
get a background check in like 5 minutes, and then
Okay.
email out to the board, and then we publish, and I think it's a 10-day after that gets published.
Are you looking for, like, what, bad debts, arrest record?
So I don't run the background checks. And our membership chair does that.
Okay.
I'm not sure exactly what the training is for it, but I'm sure, if there's stuff that comes up on the record, then it would get sent to the board. It's never happened.
Oh, okay.
Ever.
Okay.
Like in my 6 years. Has it ever happened?
No, not that I recall.
Okay. So people that would have to be worried about that sort of thing
They
probably
just aren't
wouldn't
gonna
apply.
apply.
They're not going to apply. Okay, so we don't have to worry too much about weeding them out.
Yeah, you're like, okay, I want to do service above self or connect with my community.
Now, Colleen, you're the distaff side, as we say. So when did the first women get to be Rotarians?
Recently.
Recent.
In my lifetime.
Okay.
And so I actually printed it out because it's a really long thing, but I'm going to try and gist it and then reference if
Okay.
needed. So when all of these clubs, like Chamber, Rotary, Kiwanis, they all kind of emerged in the early 1900s.
Okay.
And at that time, sexes were segregated, so they were all men's clubs. And slowly but surely the world changed. And then in the 80s, in Duarte, California, this club wanted to bring in a woman. Her name was Sylvia Whitlock. And the club brought her in as a member, and somehow word got around that they had a woman in their club, and they lost their charter.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So it went
So it
to
wasn't the welcome wagon wasn't there.
no, like literally they like you can't be a club anymore if you're gonna have a woman in your club.
Wow.
And it became a legal battle, and it went all the way to the Supreme Court.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. And
Wow.
she ended up being the first female president of a
Good
Rotary
for
Club.
her. Good for Sylvia.
And I got to meet her. And then during the year before my year, we had our first female international president.
Oh wow.
And her name was Jennifer Jones. And when I went to my first Rotary International Convention, it was her year. So I was really excited.
Wow.
And so this is the 80s, right? So I was like in elementary school when all this was going on. And so, yeah, really recent history. And then Jennifer Jones, that was just last year.
And Rotary is not only national, but it's international. I mean, there are clubs overseas. And
Yes.
so if I wanted to go to Japan and
That's
join
actually a
Rotary,
really cool thing about being a Rotarian is that if you are in the know, right, you'll start looking for the wheel,
oh, okay.
right? And you'll see it on a building, on a park or something. You'll be like, oh, there's a Rotary Club here. And then you can go visit it.
Okay.
Because, you know, Rotarians connect with each other. We even have like an international travel fellowship where Rotarians house swap.
Oh, wow.
So yeah, it's everywhere.
How does Rotary go about doing the things that they do? I mean, where does any funds come from to fund whatever you do?
Well, yeah, so we do Coeur de Cuisine, is our major fundraiser.
Coeur de Cuisine.
Coeur de Cuisine. And this particular fundraiser is, they call it like a gourmet gala. And we bring in restaurants from all of Escondido, restaurants, breweries, wineries, and everybody sets up a booth. And you basically can just sample your way across the room. And it's I think this will be our 20th year coming up of doing this.
Okay.
And our honoree this year is going to be Danny Sherlock with the Boys and Girls Club.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's our major fundraiser.
That's your major fundraiser. Okay.
And every Rotarian buys a ticket. And then some of them are sponsors, and it goes on from there.
Okay. Cool.
Ernie, if I could just
Sure.
back
Yeah.
up to something else Colleen said earlier relative to the international travel, because I experienced it early in my career. There are 46,000 Rotary clubs around the world in 220 countries. And I had the pleasure and the privilege of attending many overseas when I was traveling early in my career. And it was a welcome sight because they're friendly. In some overseas locations, they're much more formal. It's very businesslike, very sought after. It's very prestigious. For instance, in Japan, where they're very formal, wonderfully welcoming, but it's very prestigious to be a Rotarian, and they love to have visitors and guests. So it sort of gives you a feeling of being welcomed into the country by the indigenous residents.
So it's like finding family overseas somewhere.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, that was good. That was my question. So, when you went to Japan, for instance, you just found out where the Rotary Club was and showed up and said, "Hail, brother," and give them the magic handshake, and you're in.
You just show up, and another nice tradition is if you know you're going overseas and have a chance to visit a Rotary Club, we take our Rotary flag, the Escondido Rotary flag, with us.
Okay.
And we exchange banners or flags.
Oh, wow.
And it's sort of a nice little ceremony.
Okay, so you get to wind up with a collection of flags from the different places that you've been.
Yes.
So is that flag something that's available to any Rotarian that says, "Hey, I'm going to be going to Germany"?
Yes.
And
They say, "Okay,
pins.
we'll take a flag and your pin," and you take your flag and you say, "Hi, brother," and like I said, you give them the magic handshake and they welcome you into the club. And then, what kind of things did you do then when you identified yourself as a Rotarian then when you were in Japan?
Well, it was an excellent opportunity to learn more about the culture. And
Oh, wow.
when I was traveling, it was on business. We talked about business issues and initiatives and family. It really is like, being home
Okay.
in a different country.
Okay. Okay.
Did they follow the same format and have like a program and?
Yes, the
Yeah.
same program, but as I say, quite formal. Everything was, by the
Well, the
numbers.
Japanese, yeah, the Japanese are very much
Very
that way,
precise,
very precise,
everything.
We're the most formal club in town, and we're not that formal.
Oh, okay. Okay, now, one of the things we talked the other day, you mentioned that there are 37 clubs that have spun off of the Escondido Club. Is that right? Did I have that
Yes,
right?
I brought it for you.
Oh, okay.
So this is our family tree.
Okay.
And I'd have to count them again. I could. But basically, it starts here with orange. Our parent club was San Diego Club number 33 from 1911.
Wow.
And they spawned us in 1924.
Okay.
And then all the ones in green are the ones that we directly sponsored.
Wow. Okay, so now,
And then it keeps going.
how does the sponsorship work? So you're Escondido and your club number, oh, you don't have the number.
It's 915.
Okay, so you started in 1924. So then at what point did, let's say, Jack decide he wants to start another Rotary Club? What does he do?
Right.
How does he come to you and call in and say, hey, I want to start a breakfast Rotary, or I want to start a Saturday morning Rotary? Then what does he have to do to get his new Rotary started up, and how do you, as the parent club, then help him get his going, to get his members? Or does he already have to have members? Does he already have to have, say, I've got 40 people that want to join the Rotary, but they want to only join if we have a breakfast club? Or how does that work out?
So I've never seen a club start, so I'm going to have to leave this to Jack.
Okay, well, I can go back to our 50th year when I was president, and the first new club we sponsored was Escondido East.
Okay.
And it's basically done on the district level. It's directed and orchestrated by the district governor. We all pitched in to try and get new members, but all I had to do was sign the document saying that we sponsored this new Rotary Club in Escondido.
Okay. And then, so then they have to then, I mean, how do they get their charter? Who gives it?
Through the district, and there's a lot of training that goes involved.
Okay.
So that they understand the rules and regulations, how to conduct a meeting. And they're pretty experienced. In, I think, several cases, Escondido Rotary members joined Escondido East to guide them and to bring them along.
Okay, so they took their experience from
Yes.
Escondido to Escondido East and said, okay, well, this is the way we need to do it, or this is the rules we need to follow. So
Correct.
they help develop. That's okay. Now,
Could I add
go ahead.
one thing?
Sure.
Okay, so this is something I thought was really interesting when I learned it. Just like we are all members of our club, each club is like a member of Rotary International, right? So a person comes in, they get evaluated, they get sponsored by somebody, and then the name goes out and it gets approved, and it's the same thing.
For
Or
the
like
club.
a club, it
For
has
the
to
club.
get sponsored. It has to get go to the district, and then go to Rotary International, and then that club becomes a member of Rotary International.
Okay. Now, there's 46,000 Rotary clubs
Yes.
throughout the world. Throughout the world. And how many countries?
220.
200. I didn't realize how many countries there were in the world, obviously. I'm shocked at that.
And I obviously looked up some of this data
Well, that's
before.
fine. Yeah,
this
yeah,
meeting.
you can cheat. That's okay, Jack, because I wouldn't have remembered that
It's not
either.
in the back roads of
Yeah.
my mind.
I
All right.
didn't have it.
Now, here comes the difficult questions, I think, for both of you. Colleen, less for you only because you've only been 6 years with Rotary. But Jack, you've been with Rotary for 63 years. So you must have started when you were like 4 years old or something,
Oh,
right?
thank you.
But the question is, what would you, if you were king for the day, what would you change about Rotary? Or is everything about Rotary just like golden?
It goes along pretty well, but from a society perspective, people are engaging less than they used to. The book Bowling Alone sort of documented the fact that, unfortunately, in my opinion, people are less prone to join organizations than they used to be. and that's a shame. So I think one of the challenges is membership, and particularly getting young people involved in Rotary. So that's our challenge. Once we hook them, get them, they see the benefits, it takes care of itself. But the initial introduction to Rotary is something that is a challenge.
Okay, Colleen, for you, what would you?
Well, I would second what Jack said. I was talking to one of my daughter's friends' mothers about Rotary, and she said, "It's your third place." I was like, "What does that mean?" I've never heard that like term before. And she's like, "Well, it used to be church, right? Because people have their family, and then they have their work, and then they have like a third place, which is like where they get connection.
Okay.
Like you guys, this is your third place, right? This is where you come together to do something because you want to be with the people that are doing it. You like whatever the task is. It makes you feel like a connected, fuller being. And I think that our generation doesn't know that we're missing it, right? Like we think that like well, number one, we're really tired and stressed out. But number two, like nobody told us that we needed a third place, right? Like, and so it's something that I think is super fulfilling, but you don't have time to always make that pitch. So how to market it, I think, is definitely something that we could use professional help with.
Okay, you probably made the point. There is no religious connections with Rotary. Is that
No,
true?
it's
Okay.
true. It's apolitical and no religion.
Non-religious.
Uh-huh.
Okay. So
It's we don't exclude religion. Like we do an invocation at every meeting.
okay.
But it doesn't have like a certain, it's just whoever wants to go up and read a poem or say a prayer or,
Oh, okay.
some philosophy, whatever you want, you can offer it. But I think that it's just a little moment for the spiritual connection. But I think that service is really spiritual. And so it doesn't.
That's what you're getting out of it, is what you're doing for somebody else beyond service beyond yourself.
Service beyond
all
yourself,
that
yeah.
is-
So it's so we don't practice a religion, but we still have a spiritual component.
How many clubs in San Diego County did we say?
I think there's 68.
68. Gosh. And how many members? And then do we know?
Thousands, I don't know. I'd
Oh,
have to
okay.
look it up, but
Oh,
at
it's okay.
least it's thousands.
Ernie, membership of Rotary International is 1.2 million. And let me say, before I forget it, that the president of this $1.2 million organization,
Or $1.2 million people.
people, thank you, will be here in Escondido for the first time in history for our centennial celebration.
Wow.
So we're excited about that.
Yeah, I would think so.
And she's the second female president of Rotary International.
Oh, okay. Oh, okay. So Rotary International, not. Is there a national president of Rotary?
No.
Oh.
So we are divided into like areas. So there's towns, obviously, or like Route 78. They don't really have a town. They have like a area, and then there's a district, and then there's like areas within the
region.
district, like a regional area.
Okay.
And so when we do our training, so every year the presidents have to go to the president-elect training seminar, and the people there come from Hawaii all the way to Texas, because like that's our area.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, now you just brought up something that was one of the things I had. So you start out as a member and then you might get elected to the board. Now, how does that work? Do you get nominated to be on the board, or somebody say, I think Jack would be a good member of the board? How does that work?
Well, generally, and it could have changed, so I'm going to defer to Colleen here in a minute, but generally it's those people who are most active. If you're active, you volunteer to serve on committees, you do the things that need to be done, you're going to be asked to be a chair of the board or chair of the committee, and you work your way up through the ladder, so to speak.
Okay. And then you just brought up, Colleen, is that there's actually training. So if you're the president-elect, you have to go take how long does that take? I mean, how many?
It is, I think it's 3 days, 2 nights.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So it's not a 3-hour course.
Yeah,
We're
so
talking.
and you have to go. So to be a president in our club, you have to do the district training, which is like a day-long seminar. You have to do um, the president-elect training seminar 3 days, and then the Rotary International Conference, which is 5 days.
Wow.
Yeah.
So you're talking like over a week.
It's a lot of training.
Is it? Well, I guess the question is it fairly intense? I mean, what kind of things? I mean, I became president here because they just said you're president. So
Congratulations. It's I would say the president-elect training seminar is the most intense. But the district training is more like a maintenance training. You know, you kind of just go to see what's changed, keep you up to date. And then the international one is more fun. And it's just about getting more connected with the bigger picture.
Now, how many? Okay, stop you right there. How many people at the international? I mean, people from everywhere.
Yeah.
I mean, you have people from Japan, from Germany, whatever. And
Absolutely.
okay, well, Colleen, let me end with this. If someone wants to become a member of Rotary, who do they contact? Who do they call? Where do they have to write their application letter or whatever? So why don't you tell us a little bit about that?
You can start at our website, escondidorotary.org. There's also links on that website to our Instagram, our Facebook, and our YouTube if you want to check out some of our content. And there's a submission form. You can basically just say, hey, I'd like more information, and then we'll email you back. Or our date and time and location is on the website, and you can just come and show up.
Oh, yeah. Jackie, we're going to tell us about the magazine.
Yes, I just wanted to show you the magazine. This is the Rotary International magazine. Very nice, sophisticated, well-done magazine that we get every month.
Okay. And that comes part of your dues.
That's part of our
Absolutely
our dues, but it's very interesting.
Well, this has been fascinating, guys. I have to thank both you, Jack and Colleen, for coming. And
you're very, very welcome.
Thank you for having us.
Oh,
Thank you
yeah.
for having us.
Rotary sounds interesting. This is a whole lot more than I thought we would get into. And you can see I have my long list of questions, and I think I got through most of them. But I appreciate you both coming.
You're very welcome.
And spending the time with us. For you out there, please come back and see us again soon. We thank you for watching us at PACE TV, the Pace of San Diego.